Well, welcome to another edition of GW Unspoken, where we discuss stuff we don't typically talk about, but probably should. And we're here for our nutrition season 6, episode 3 podcast. And thanks for joining us wherever you may be, whether at the gym, on the way to work, walking, dog, wherever. I really appreciate you tuning in, and a lot of feedback coming through from teens and adults and even older adults too, just talking about how much these things are triggering their ideas or some strategies around how they can live a healthier lifestyle in our 8 series episode of the innate code of making us having holistic health. So today's episode is going to be called the snack attack strategy. And I want you to start thinking about, what are some of the things that you have at the moment that are in part of your diet or what you typically eat. And some people might say, well, I actually don't have snacks. I just have 3 meals a day, or only eat when I'm hungry, and that usually is just 2 meals a day. Well, that's fine. I'm not saying you have to have snacks, but we do know that when we are hungry, we often crave things that are high in sugar and high in salt, because that's the way our insulin works. And we talked last episode about how things like Macca's and KFC and all those fast food chains are so popular because we crave sugar and salt when we're hungry. Fast food's a massive $1 trillion industry, and it's because same thing, really cheap compared to usually healthy foods, but also very convenient for us to get, and it's made quicker. So in a society where we want things right now and want them immediately, fast food is often our go-to, especially when we are hungry and craving those things. I've heard people often come home too and say, look, I'll give my teens cereal. I think it's really more of a healthier option than other things, which they might be right compared to what they're having eating. I'm not sure about that, but we do know that most cereal is full of sugar. And I heard one person say, hey, I have Nutrigrain, it's really good, full of protein. But when they looked at the label and they had an informed decision, they actually realized how much sugar was in that particular cereal, and they realized that probably the milk was the best part of that as a healthy choice. So look, there's so many things that affect our brains and affect our nutritional choices. I know lack of sleep's another one. Often if I don't have much sleep, or if I'm fishing with a mate and I'm bored, I want to seek dopamine, and what's handy for me? It's food. So often as Australians, we overeat because it does provide a little dopamine, excitement, and enjoyment factor, if you will. So we've got to be really careful about that kind of stuff. And I think if we have healthier choices that don't involve sugar and salt, then we can actually crave those dopamine spikes or surges and actually have a healthy choice. So what are some? Let's get straight into it. Snack attack strategies. What are some things? Well, how about cheese? Fills you up, full of protein. Often products full of protein will actually fill us up faster. How about having a big glass of water before we actually eat because we're starving? That might actually slow our metabolism down straight away and make our stomach feel fuller as well. Whole milk. David Gillespie came on recently and just talked about how milk is one of the best things for us. So that's another one thing that we might argue, yes, it's healthy, it's not healthy. Yogurt. Yogurt's another great one too. A milk dairy product, but again, we've got to watch out it's not high in sugar. So again, reading the labels and making sure we have an informed decision is really important. Nuts, like I love peanuts and Brazil nuts and all those things are so good for your brain and your body. And the problem is with nuts is you can eat too many of them, and eating too many, even the healthy fats, again, it's more calories, you're going to put on more weight. So they say a handful of nuts, maybe twice a day in between your snacks or as a snack, is a really good option. Meats could be good. Again, it's a nice big protein, full of protein, so it's a healthy choice. It actually makes us feel fuller for longer. But again, there's an argument about processed meat versus, the natural occurring meat. So be careful of that one as well. And how about eggs? I've seen when our kids are hungry, we actually put a meal together as a salad plate, and sometimes in that salad plate we might have cucumber, pieces of cheese, tomato, a couple of pieces of ham, and the other thing we might have is a couple of boiled eggs, and we say you must have a boiled egg each, salt and pepper on it, split in half, and they have those, and it actually makes them feel full for longer and makes them feel good. Doesn't have those high dopamine spikes just from having the fructose in fruits. So, you can put them all together. What about, well, you're not going to have yogurt and milk on these things, but what about making a healthy wrap? So recently at school for our nutrition subject, we actually went through, and for the lessons we actually went and designed a wrap with the home ec department. Really grateful they helped us out with that. And the students not only made the wrap, they got to eat the wrap. And I said, look, this is a healthy, cheap choice you could make at home. It would probably take you about 5 minutes to put it together. You get to choose what goes on, the ingredients that goes on that wrap. So they've also had some autonomy there as a teenager as well. So look, I think it's really important, number one, know your snacks, what you're having. 2, are you starving because you don't have snacks and therefore you're often looking for an unhealthy option, or you have a really low in your moods or a bad mood or are frustrated really quickly because you're not having enough food and energy for your brain? So how about you plan them? a good idea to start planning your snacks, getting them ready throughout the day. I know when I'm going to work and as a school teacher, love having go to first break, actually hungry because you don't have first break till about 10:50, so it's pretty late in the day. If I've eaten like at 6:30, you're looking at 4 hours, which is 4 or 5 hours, way too long before you eat again. But if I go there and see a couple of pieces of cheese, yes, by themselves, sounds weird, clean wrapped up, ready to go, and some no-fat yogurt or low-fat yogurt with some nuts and seeds through it, delicious, and you feel full for longer again. Second snack after our main break could be things like a boiled egg. And I know that's not socially acceptable if you're a student or sometimes in your workplace, but boiled egg, tuna, all those things that are full of protein, really good for you. If you don't like those things, seek an alternative in a protein-rich base, I suggest. And lastly, I just want to suggest is hydration, and this is where I fall down, especially with water. And I have things like low sugar cordials or Coke Zeros, and we don't know yet about the severity of how serious those things are for us in our brain, but definitely a low sugar cordial is something I do to hydrate myself. Water when I'm doing gym or exercise is really important. I'll have it then. But if you can sip on water slowly throughout the day, they say 8 cups of water, depending on actually how much you sweat. Really important to hydrate because sometimes that'll actually help you with your weight, but also help you nourish your body and make sure those nutrients are flowing around your body really well as well. So let's go. Journal. Here's your journal challenge for this time. And again, really suggest you have a go at writing this down, not just think it in your head while I'm speaking to you. Again, these podcasts are hopefully to help you. Love how it is typically, again, things we don't talk about but probably should, because nutrition is a very controversial area because there's so many different waves of thought out there and a lot of nutritionists and people who are dietitians who will have their say based on the latest research. These are some ideas and strategies I've come across. So here's for your journal. Number 1, how about you write down your current snacks that you have? Write them down, whether you have them or you don't have them, but if you do have them, put them in a column like a traffic light system. Red, orange, green. Red means, actually now if I look at the labels, I realise they are really high in sugar, probably too much. Orange means they're not too bad, they're good occasionally. Green means, they're actually quite healthy, make me feel good, energise me, hydrate me, basically on calorie count. That's actually a good one for me. So write down all the snacks that you currently have. And then number 2, write down foods that you could replace them with. So if there's not many green options in there, what are some healthier options you could have? What are some things that actually could have more in that green zone where it makes you feel fuller for longer, but you actually look forward to having them? There's nothing worse than I hear people go, oh yeah, I'm going to go on a diet now. And often diets don't work and people actually put more weight on plus because they start eating foods they don't naturally like. And therefore, once they go off it 1 or 2 times when their moods are down or they're seeking dopamine or they go to a party and they break that cycle, they say, oh, I've stuffed it now, so I might as well keep going. And it's not what they want to do, and they feel even worse in turn. So it's cyclically poor behaviour and mood from that. So how about writing down some things that you actually would like to replace them with and plan them out, have them options, get them ready the night before. Yes, it's going to take a habit. Yes, it's going to be a pain in the backside because our neural pathways, we usually eat what we're used to or we plan or we don't plan because that's how our brain patterns are. We're used to having routine. Break them, have that difficulty first. Break them, have them organised, and I guarantee you'll actually feel better throughout the day if you have those snacks that you actually want to have. And lastly, when you do this for a while, write down what you think is happening to your moods, your satiety. Are you feeling fuller? Are you feeling better? Are you having less bloatedness? And all these positive things that come from having those green, healthier snacks throughout the time without making you gorge on bad food or larger meals later in the day or night, it's going to actually improve your self-worth and your self-esteem. So it's actually going to make you feel better by having those healthier choices. It's hard to do. It's easy, but it's not obvious because we know that. And if I ask, for example, you right now, and I said, look, I want to tone up, add some muscle mass that's lean, so I'll lean up a bit, lose some weight. What are some things I need to do? I guarantee most people would be able to answer that question. Well, you probably need some hydration with water especially. You probably need some good sleep. Some people might think outside the box and say you need a health coach, whatever, which, you need some support. That's probably right. But they'd probably say low fat, low sugar, and have 5 or 6 healthy meals a day without overeating. Guess what? Most people who answer this question can do that, and they're not nutritionists or they're not dietitians. We know it. It's just that we base our food often on mood, not on logic. So try and break that cycle. It is actually difficult to do that. It is challenging, but it'll be worth it if your self-worth and your self-esteem improves because your moods are better, you start eating better, you're feeling your brain, your body better, and remember, your body is your machine. So look, we look forward to your next episode with Season 6, Episode 4, we talk about nutrition, and we're going to have a deep dive into eating for our brain health. So again, thank you for joining us on this episode of GW Unspoken.